Number 1, overlays. There are a couple of posts inside this collection that have an optional overlay. It just adds a little bit of grain to the photo. So if you like that vintagey look, you can use this overlay or delete it. And if you want to use it on any other post, all you have to do is copy this overlay by right-clicking and selecting copy or using this keyboard shortcode, and then you can use this overlay throughout your design. We've only used it in a couple of places, so if you're having trouble swapping out your images, check for the overlay, and if you want to add an image behind the overlay, just simply move the overlay out of the way, and then you can grab your photo and pop it in, and then move the overlay back over. Number 2 is opacity. You'll notice that there's a really cohesive look throughout this design where all the photos kind of look like they belong together, and that is because we've added a transparency to the photos with our brand color underneath. So you'll notice in this post, for example, if I move the photo out of the way, I've added the brand color behind the photo. So all you have to do with any of your photos inside this collection or any collection, if you want to have that cohesive look, is just add your brand color behind the photo, and then with the photo on top of your brand color, you're going to head up to the transparency tab and reduce the transparency ever so slightly. So you can control this. Some photos require more transparency than others, but you'll notice that when I reduce the transparency, there it is at 100, and when I reduce it to about 80, you have that beautiful brand color seeping through, and it gives every photo in this collection that cohesive look. Number 3, brightness. If you're having trouble viewing any of the fonts once you have popped in your own brand photos, a really neat trick is to head to the edit button and then the adjust section, and in this section here you can adjust the brightness of the photo. So if I reduce the brightness, you'll notice that the text becomes more and more legible, and we don't have to be drastic about it. We can just go to about 20% and the text is much more pronounced. You can see it more. This is a really good trick to use if your font colors are not strictly white and black. This one is a little bit of a beige and it makes it more difficult to read on some photos, but if we still want to maintain that effect, heading to the adjust tool and adjusting the brightness is a really good trick. Number 4, outlines. Some of the photos and elements in this design have outlines on them, have this border around the photos, and that's achieved just by selecting any photo or element, and you'll notice that the toolbar at the top adds the border style and the ability to round the element itself. So here we can choose what kind of border style we want, and then we can adjust the color as well. And lastly, we have a shadow right here. So this is a really good trick if you want to create your own mock-ups inside of Canva. So let's say that you have a freebie, either a seller guide or any kind of freebie, and you just want to pop the front page, cover page inside of this template. You can add a shadow right underneath that front page and it will create that effect where it looks like it's just hovering over the photo in the background. So in order to achieve this, we're going to head to elements and just type in shadow in the search bar, and then you can play around with all of these different shadows. I generally use something like this where there's a strong line and then the shadow, and when we add that, it just creates this beautiful effect. Now I'm going to go ahead and regroup this, and the reason why I'm doing that is because when we group it together, we can move it around as one element. And that is it. Top 5 things you need to know about the Montmartre collection. Happy designing, my friends!